What's good, y'all? Back with another video. Today I'm reacting. Charlie Kirk helped socialists realize he actually agrees that socialism sucks. Still gonna do Charlie Kirk reactions. I like doing Charlie Kirk reactions, even though I disagree. And I hope you are. Rest in peace, Charlie Kirk. I'm still gonna do the reactions because I don't know. Sad what happened to him, but let's hear it out. You know, let's be neutral. Let's give it a try. Let's go. All right. Boom. Oh, okay. What am I doing? All right.
Does it?
Yeah.
Where is socialism work? Where is socialism worked?
You pay your income tax?
Income tax is not socialist.
It's not?
No. Well, I think it's way too high, isn't it?
Yeah, but socialism is where everybody pays in.
Why don't you? Do you give more money than your income tax every year to the government?
What?
Do you give more than what the government asks you to give each year?
Yeah, I do.
You do?
I get what he was trying to say. He was trying to say that the income tax is basically a form of socialism because everybody is paying into the income tax to help fund other things. So everybody's money all together as a collective is what funds roads, police departments, the government, you know. So that's what he's trying to say when he says it's socialism. And that is a form of socialism.
You give more to the government?
Yeah.
So you give more than what the IRS asks you to give?
Yeah.
You do?
Uh-huh.
So you think that, do you trust the government?
I don't take all the deductions that I'm entitled to.
Do you trust the government?
For what? Of course I do.
You do?
Yeah.
You trust the government that recklessly audits people they disagree with and runs inefficiently and has huge bureaucracies of
I have to
nothingness?
tell you something. I'm a retired federal employee, so I used to look for that.
Which agency?
Department of Agriculture.
Okay. So you,
It's a two-sided thing to me. Like, I understand why people don't trust the government. But I also think there's some element of trust that we have to have for the government in order to get things done. We need some system in place to be able to talk overseas to people, to manage roads, manage states. So it's like that is the trust in the government is shaky, but it's like we have to have some sort of form of trust to some degree.
do you think there's any waste in the food stamp allotment in the Department of Agriculture?
Yeah, definitely.
Probably.
Also, you do think government is wasteful?
Well, we have to do something. We're not perfect.
Well, that's a horrible argument to spend trillions of dollars having to do something, isn't it? You just admitted you worked for the Department of Agriculture, which oversees the distribution of food stamps, right? And
Well,
you had
actually, what I did was
part of what the Department of Agriculture does is
payroll.
you did payroll for the Department of Agriculture.
Well, for most of the government.
Okay.
We wrote 700,000 paychecks twice a month.
So did you know of any government employees that were not very good at their job?
Not a lot.
Did they get fired?
No, they hired contractors to do their work.
So, but did the government employees get fired
What? Some
That-
did.
for not doing their job?
Yeah.
I find that very hard to believe.
We had a lot of people that were fired.
It's very hard under civil service protection to lose your job in a government bureaucracy. Very difficult.
You go to the
That's true, because, man, there are a lot of certain positions that they're rude. Rude people, man, in some of those positions because they know nothing can happen to them.
MSPB, you'll see that they have 90% approval rate for dismissing people.
Do you think government is too big?
Yeah.
Okay, then you and I are in agreement. We agree that there's inefficiency, and so that's our whole argument.
I'm saying socialism is what our government's about.
No, it's not.
It's not.
Part of the worst parts of it might be, but I reject those parts of government.
What parts? Income tax, welfare?
Yeah, that would be a good start. Food stamps are too much. Housing, Urban Development, Department of Education.
What about Social Security?
I don't think young people should be forced into paying something we're not going to see. Social Security annualized growth rates are lackluster at best.
Yeah.
The government takes 7% of our generation's earnings to subsidize older Americans.
Have you seen the homeless problem?
That's
Have you seen people that cannot
Sure.
work for a living, that have mental problems, or...
Yeah, I mean, I think there should be a safety net, but not a hammock. I think you'd agree with that.
Socialism.
Do y'all agree with that? Do y'all agree with what he's saying? He's not okay with us funding the elderly in our society. The government taking a percentage to give to the elderly people who can no longer do what they need to do in our society, even though they paid their dues in our society. We should take care of our elderly. I don't know. I thought that's a little weird. Y'all really disagree with that? Y'all really disagree? Tell me what y'all think in the comments about what he just said. I totally disagree. I think we should pay more than 7% to the people that, like, at least the people that did what they were supposed to do. You know, and there should be like a tier to determine that. There should be some angle to determine like who worked in our society for the years that they worked in our society. If you spent 60 years working in our society, I feel like you're owed something. I don't care what nobody say. I feel like you're owed something.
Define what you mean by socialism, though, because I think we might be...
Where everybody pays in together. Everybody pays in.
This dude doesn't have a clue what socialism means. Socialism, basically, y'all, is the people owning the means in production. I guess technically, to a degree, he is right where you're paying in, but he doesn't have a clue what socialism is. The people owning the means to the labor and the production. So, like, when the surplus comes in, this is basically what socialism all around is. When you're in a company, when the surplus comes in, it doesn't just go to the top; it trickles all throughout the company. That's basically a form of socialism, like everybody having a hand in what's going on. Which, to some degree, democracy is a form of socialism, to a small degree.
The common good.
For the common good.
Yeah. This university here, how many people could go to school here if it wasn't for the government paying for it? Nobody could pay for an education.
Sure, there's private institutions that exist. Sure, there are.
Yeah, but how do they work?
Quite well.
Because of donations. They work on socialism also.
So if your example of socialism is college tuition that rises every year, that is run widely inefficient, administrators that are unchecked, professors that should be fired, then you and I have the same definition of socialism, which is something that doesn't work. So here's the whole thing: is I think government is far too big. It's gone outside of its constitutional intent and authority, and market-based solutions are far better.
I'm confused. Did he just say that he agrees that socialism doesn't work? So he agrees that the government is a form of socialism to some degree? I thought he said at the beginning he doesn't think that our government is a form of socialism. I know he thinks there's elements of socialism in the government, but I'm confused on what he's saying, y'all. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, y'all. We remember, we're just discussing. You know what I mean? No hard feelings, no anything. We're just trying to discuss as Americans disagreements.
Better for the well-being of its citizens than government bureaucracies are.
Yeah, but there are some things that have to be paid.
Of course, no, I agree with that. Police, firefighters. But wouldn't you agree it's better on a localized level than a nationalized level?
What? Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so we agree. So localize more government programs. Don't federalize them.
But you still have to have government, even if it's at the local level.
Sure, I'm not an anarchist, and that's not socialism.
Okay, but my point was that nobody here could go to school if they had to pay for all the costs.
They do pay for it in tax. Somebody pays for it somewhere, whether it be taxes or the endowment or donations or tuition.
Yeah, I'm not. You know who actually pays for school here?
The taxpayers mostly.
The sports program.
Well, and taxpayers. It is a publicly funded school, I would imagine, right? I mean, it's a state school.
I have a friend who was admitted to the graduate school, got a full ride scholarship for 2 years as a graduate student, to study animation.
Okay.
So she wasn't paying a dime.
But somebody paid for it.
Yeah.
At some point. Nothing is free. Somebody's paying for something at some point of the transaction.
Right. If they had money, it was socialism that somebody paid for it. A lot of people paid for it.
So I don't support that. I don't support other people being able to live on the well-being of the forced extraction of wealth from others. I believe for the paying of basic services, such as police and fire, roads and bridges on the most localized level possible, as well as the national military. Do I believe in the Department of Education? No. Department of Labor? No.
That's how socialism.
That's why I don't support it.
What, you don't believe that we should have roads? We should have private roads? People pay for them as they use them?
No, I believe as localized as you possibly can be. The Department of Transportation is a mess. It's widely inefficient. It doesn't work well at all. Yeah, so I mean, you're making my argument for me.
No, I'm not. I'm saying
I'm
that
too familiar with the Department of Transportation.
we still have to have socialism, even if it isn't.
Okay, so your example is social. So socialism is the government run of social utilities, essentially. The government use of the government monopolization of social utilities. And the worst parts of our society, such as the Veterans Administration, which runs horribly, is a socialist program. I mean, or whether it be our disaster public schools are a socialist institution. So that sucks.
Public schools really suck.
Yeah, and those are quasi-socialist government institutions.
Yeah, but they're poorly run.
They're poorly run because they're government run. So, for example, do you think Catholic schools or government schools run better? Do you think Catholic schools or government schools run better?
I think Catholic schools are much better.
I agree. So that's a private institution.
But that's because people contribute to the church, and the church gives the money out. And
The price per pupil to educate a student in a Catholic education in the state of Louisiana is about $8,900 a year. The public education system is about $14,000 per year. Yet the Catholic education is a much higher quality, much more likelihood to go to college, much more likelihood to stay out of gangs, whereas the public education is the exact opposite.
But what you're confusing is qualified, capable public administrators who are pretty much elected by how much money they spend, as opposed
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, I mean, that's my critique.
as opposed to people who are dedicated to their job.
Right, that's why we need more private institutions, such as Catholic schools. So we're in agreement here that the most dysfunctioning parts of our society are based in government control and the misallocation of resources.
Yeah, but Charlie, most of the private institutions are the problem. Like, a lot of them are the problem. Like, for example, the whole housing market crash that happened in 2008 came from private institutions tricking people and robbing people out of their money. It's getting them to sign up under contracts they didn't understand. Like, private institutions somewhat can be the problem. They were the problem for the financial crisis. They were the problem for the Great Depression. They were the problem for many of the private institutions that have no regulations on them. You know, like I even feel like to a degree our healthcare system is fucked up because of private institutions. Like, so I don't know, man. I disagree, dude. I disagree, but I do agree there needs to be some kind of privatized. I believe in capitalism to 100%. I do. I believe in capitalism 100%. I just think there needs to be some kind of regulation on people and their power, like people being able to do whatever the fuck they want to do. Jeff Bezos can't work his people to death. You can't make children work. You know, those are the kind of things I'm thinking. Like, we need to have some kind of regulation in society to some degree.
By the fact that we have really incompetent administrators.
But administrators will always be incompetent because they're run in an incentive structure that does not require competence for them to keep their job. That's why markets work, because the incentive structure is for good ideas to continue, and the lack thereof will be the termination of their services, or people will stop going there.
So what happens to the people who are incompetent, who can't do a job, who can't work? Should they be thrown out the street?
No, they should be taken care of by churches and community members and individuals. No, that's voluntarism. There's a difference between socialism and voluntarism.
No,
Giving money to church is not social.
No, there isn't. It's the same thing. It's the same thing.
A synagogue helping poor people is not socialism.
Yes, it is.
A mosque doing a food shelter, that's voluntary charitable transaction.
Yeah.
Socialism is
That's what socialism would be. It'd be voluntary, but to some degree, yeah.
involuntary extraction of wealth to fund social utilities.
No. And that's what they hide it in. They hide it in the fact that it's saying like involuntary wealth, like they're just taking things from certain people and giving it to other people. No, it'd be everybody's a collective working to help everybody all together. So like me, you behind the camera, whoever I'm talking to, we work together to help people in society who don't have enough to be able to fund themselves or take care of themselves, take care of them. That's what socialism is. It's I get the utopian vibe behind it. I do see like the realism behind it though, that I don't think it's ever really possible.
Anyways, these charities are run by groups who accept contributions.
Individuals that are all voluntary. Socialism is involuntary.
Yeah, you have to work together as a culture.
No, but someone could leave the church. You can't leave the government extracting wealth from you. There's a difference.
You can leave the country too.
Of course you can. Yeah. Well, actually you can't. Some socialist countries you can. In Cuba, they'll kill you.
Yeah.
So you can't.
Russia. What is Russia?
Actually, you don't have to pay taxes. There's plenty of incentives to get out of it.
Russia is a crony fascist dictatorship now.
It is?
Yeah.
It's not a republic?
No, Russia's far from a republic. They might want to call them that, but they're a plutocratic, cronyist fascist dictatorship now. Putin is basically president for life. Their democracies are a sham. The oil and natural gas reserves are owned by an oligarchic, plutocratic class that is far from a market-based system.
Capitalist.
It's not capitalist, no. You know what the core part of capitalism is?
What?
A neutral court system that allows the adjudication of differences. Russia does not have that at all.
They don't?
No, their court system is a joke.
Okay, but they do have a court system.
No, that's right. As I said, it has to be a neutral-based court system. That's a fundamental part of markets.
Yeah, they do have centralized healthcare.
Which does not work very well at all.
Why not?
Because socialized healthcare doesn't work.
Well, why doesn't the program in Russia work?
Because socialized healthcare doesn't work in general, and it definitely does not work in Russia.
But if you don't have any money and you get sick, you can go to a doctor just the same. Here, I need to have my eyes fixed, and I can't afford to go see a doctor.
But if you walk into an emergency room, they have to take care of you.
No, they don't.
Yes, they do. It's called the Hippocratic Oath. They have to.
No, they don't.
They have to serve you.
I've been to the hospital in the emergency room, and they went in, they ran some blood tests, determined I had a serious blood problem.
That's right. They do have to serve you. I don't know what dude's about to lie about. Dude's lying. They do have to serve you. He's absolutely right.
He showed me the door.
In violation of the Hippocratic Oath.
Well, what could I do?
So what were you diagnosed with?
I had a blood level pH of 6, and they said there's nothing wrong with that, just get out of here. I went to my doctor and found out, yeah, this is very serious.
So what would be a prescribed treatment of that?
I don't know, he mentioned what he calls the pH of 6.
Well, but if they can't determine what it is, then a treatment can't be applied.
Then why are you going to the emergency room?
That's what I'm trying to ask. You can't figure out what's wrong with you. There's no treatment. No, tell me what's wrong with you, then you can make an argument. I mean, so how do you fix that? How do you fix that? That's because there's a lot of contributing factors to that.
All right, so the guy's just gonna talk on. I'm sorry about the audio, guys. It doesn't sound like sounds pretty bad, but I agreed. I agreed a lot with Charlie and some of that, and I disagreed on some of it. But yeah, R.I.P. Charlie, but. Definitely great conversations. He always drove great conversations. He definitely did, and that kind of sucks because we kind of need that in this country. We kind of need two groups of people. I feel like I got titties for some reason, but it's like just the way I be sitting. I sit awkwardly, and man chest. But yeah, like, but you know, I don't know. He drove a lot of good conversations, but sucks. But anyways, y'all, I'm out. Peace.